Hello, my name is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, here with an update for February 8th, 2021, where I'm going to talk about the Sweetwater County School District Number 1 meeting that's actually going on right now. They're in executive session. We'll talk quickly to get the important points. In addition to the bi-monthly update from Sweetwater County health officials looking at the current status of the coronavirus that's known in the county, in addition to ongoing vaccination efforts, and an opportunity from Climb, Wyoming to provide free commercial driver's license training to low-income single mothers. So, rewinding back to earlier in the day, I continue to be very thankful with the openness and accessibility of our county health officials, letting people know where things stand. Today, they reported that the ongoing trend of slow but positive rate of decreased infections, increased vaccinations, is continuing. One of the milestones that we've recently passed is that the number of confirmed cases, COVID-19 cases in Sweetwater County, about 3,500, has been surpassed by the number of people who have been vaccinated against the coronavirus, about more than 4,500. That's an important step toward overall recovery. You'd rather have people gain protection through vaccination than the riskier, potentially physically harder way of straight-up infection. We've still got a ways to go, but that was a fun milestone to mark. The number of people getting tested, we're slowly seeing the number of positives decrease. The goal is that you really want it to be about 4%. Honestly, the true goal is 0, but 4% is one of the benchmarks that we've been told to watch for. It's about 7% right now, and it was 10% just a few weeks ago, so that's also continued progress. Statewide, the Wyoming Department of Health has reported that the number of active cases dropped to about 1,000 over the weekend, and now it sits at about 900. We want to see that as low as possible. Dr. Gene Station, the Sweetwater County Public Health Officer, noted it's not quite the low that we saw earlier or partway through last year, but it's good to see that progress. There were lots of questions from the participants in the meeting. One of which is the where are we at when it comes to people getting the coronavirus vaccine? And one of the things, messages that was stressed is that people should be reaching out to community nursing, public health, to see if they qualify for the vaccine, if they're interested in doing so. The parameters have expanded. A lot of the focus has been placed on those 65 and up, and one of the new expansions is for people really of any age, primarily 18 and older, with certain medical conditions. And we've talked about this in a previous video. Diabetes, heart disease, obesity, defined as a body mass index of 30 or higher. These are things that are common, that we see a lot in Sweetwater County, and that you can reach out to public health and be put on a list. Even if you're not sure, they're saying that if you're interested, call. You might be surprised. And even if you're not available to get a vaccine immediately, hopefully that you'd be able to be put on a waiting list so that as rollout continues, or potentially as maybe there's a limited time once the vial is open how long you have to use the vaccine. And maybe somebody's may have been caught on the roads, some of the nasty roads we had lately, and they can't make their appointment. They want to make sure someone gets that dose. You might find yourself getting a call to be able to get a vaccine earlier than what you were originally told. If you're not on that list, they don't know that you're interested, they're not going to call you. We're encouraging, we're trying to spread the message that they want people to be showing their interest, letting people know that they want to do their best. We're hopeful that the more we're able to use our vaccine, or use our vaccine allotment, fill appointments, the more vaccine we'll get. We don't want to see it diverted to other places if we could go to people who are interested in getting it here. One other topic of note that came up in the meeting is the fact that right now the Wyoming legislature has at least 4 bills talking about revamping the way that health orders are put into place, or limiting the powers of both the state and county health officers. Yeah, there's a story about that at rocketminer.com. You can find more details. When asked about just changing the system, Dr. Jean Station said it should not be a surprise, but she is against such things. She said that health medical decisions should be based on science. It shouldn't become a political thing. Just pulling her summary quote from the end, I like the fact how she summarized it as saying, quote, "My opinion is that it should remain as it is." Pretty straightforward. Moving on to the school board, which, like I said, you see my eyes glancing down. I'm looking at the monitor to see if they're in executive session for legal and personnel issues. The two primary topics that came up tonight were the start and end times of the next two school years, 2021 through 2022 through 23. Last year, the school board approved a move throughout Sweetwater County School District Number 1 to go to a 4-day school week, and that's how it's going to be. There's not really an opportunity to change that now. They're just looking at calendar dates, when are they going to have holidays, and when you start and stop in days. And I'll attach the extensive report that the school district put together, talking about compiling a lot of the public feedback. But the recommendation, which this was just presented to the board tonight, they are expected to vote on it on the upcoming February 22nd meeting, if I've got that correctly. But the recommendation to the school board is that the start and end times for the coming two school years will be as follows. For kindergarten through 6th grade, it will start at 8:40 a.m., go through 3:20. For 7th and 8th grade students, they will start at 8, continue to 4:05 p.m. And for high school, 9th through 12th grade, it will start at 8 a.m. and continue to 4:15 p.m. They talked about a lot of factors they're juggling. At different age groups, elementary, middle school, or junior high, high school, they have to have a certain number of hours of instruction every school year. And how long the school day can vary. If you have more school days, that means that the length of that school day might be a little bit longer. You have fewer school days, that means that they're going to spend a little bit longer in class to make sure that they hit that benchmark. There's recommendations based on when is the best time for people to start. Like, for example, usually kindergarten, elementary school kids are up and at it earlier in the day. At least in my experience, I slept in a lot more the older I got. I sleep in super late when I allow myself to today. And the other major factor, and was a point of compromise with some of these proposed dates, is just community feedback. While they understand that a lot of studies indicate that younger students should start earlier, it was clear that they said that it was clear that they didn't, from the community, that they didn't want the students starting too early in the day, like 7:45 or earlier for the youngest kids. And they had some feedback on the opposite end. They didn't want the older students still being in class at 4:40, 5 o'clock. And busing is another thing. Right now, according to Sweetwater County School District Number 1 officials, we don't have enough busing for all the schools to be in session at the same time and still get people home in a timely manner. They're usually taking care of the junior high school students first. They finish those route, and then those same buses are doing elementary school stuff. And there's also a bit of juggling. They recognize that under the system, as proposed, they would anticipate that there are going to be some parents that might be multiple kid household, or that they're just limited by work, limited by childcare options, finances and whatnot. There might be some cases where kids are getting dropped off super early. It remains to be seen what decision the board will make. But it's just one of those things that, just based on the feedback they had from community, the hope is that was expressed by both members of the administration and school board members, is that this is an improvement. They think it's better than the current system. It may not be the ideal recommended by the system, but this seems to be somewhere in between that the community would have. There was more than one survey that talked about how, even if this isn't your favorite option, would you still support the multiple different calendar versions? And consistently, the majority of the students, staff, and they had a community like parents, guardians, and business owners feedback as well, said that we're generally happy with the options that have been presented to us. We'll see what happens next. The other item that was presented as an informational, not to be voted on this meeting, but something where there was much public comment, was the new policy looking at the reduction in workforce, or we're just pulling up the official term, reduction in force, RIF, which I find to be a sterile, not specific enough bit of, I mean, we're talking about layoffs, people not seeing their contracts renewed. It's noted that this policy has not been updated in a while, about 25 years, and one of the directives that came down from the state level was that school districts need to be looking at potentially with the budgets cuts that are coming. The previous system or policy that's in the book is primarily based on seniority. How long have you been there? It's very black and white. It's a system that the administration says has been challenged in some areas and doesn't necessarily fully take into account who the best students or who the best teachers are in the classroom. And they were asking for a system that they admitted is more subjective, but still tries to give them more latitude when it comes to judging and giving weight to, have they advanced their education while they've been teaching? Have they have additional certification? Have they done join voluntarily, like extra, whether it's professional groups, task force committees, like the calendar committee that was previously, that worked on the dates for the school district, that type of stuff. Many teachers sent comments in questioning whether that's the best way to judge that, whether or not that undercuts the sense of loyalty or the sense of being all in it together. It's one of those things, when it's subjective, you hope that most people would come to the same conclusions, but you never know if there might be something that's less clear-cut, and that was something that was repeatedly stressed. Many staff members just asked the board not to accept this proposal as it is currently written. That's another one that will come up for decision later. The last thing I wanted to touch upon is actually something we haven't gotten in print yet, but I just wanted to help spread the word too, is that Climb, Wyoming is going to begin offering a free commercial driving license, or CDL training. As previously mentioned, it's a program that works to help low-income single mothers find new sources of income to better support their families, get them more self-reliant, and make a better life for themselves. It's one of those things where training will be provided free of charge. They do different topics for each segment, and this one will be specifically looking at trucks of many shapes and sizes, according to the press release. Talking about from small delivery trucks to school buses, flatbed trucks, with the goal to be able to have a $16 to $18 per hour starting salary, which I know some people where that would be an upgrade in their household, and that would be welcome. Anyway, for those who are interested, they should call 307-382-0771, message Climb on Facebook, or visit climbready.org. Once again, those options are calling 307-382-0771, messaging Climb on its Facebook page, or visiting climbready.org. For those who aren't familiar with it, Climb Wyoming is now in its 35th year of working with single mothers to achieve self-sufficiency, according to the press release. For more information, you can visit www.climbwyoming.org. So, we'll give you more details on the school district meeting later, because, like I said, glancing at the camera and the picture within the picture on my screen, the executive session's still in session. I hope you all have a good night, and a safe tomorrow. Bye.